Hi everyone, so this is a quick review video on Soh Cah Toa. Soh Cah Toa is a mnemonic you might have learned in geometry and is a useful way of memorizing which trig function to use with which sides of the triangle. As an example, we'll look at Soh. The S at the beginning of Soh stands for sine. We are using our sine of theta. And then the next letter is O. Our O means the opposite side of the triangle. I'll be talking about that in a moment. And then finally, we have H, our hypotenuse. What you're going to do is, if you look over here, you have your opposite side divided by your hypotenuse. With all three of these, you're going to have your second letter divided by your third letter. So down here for Ka, we have our A. A stands for adjacent, and we're dividing our A divided by our hypotenuse. And then finally you have Toa. Toa is your tangent, and you're dividing your opposite divided with your adjacent. What do I mean? All right, so what do I mean by opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse? The hypotenuse is the longest side, and if you look at this right angle over here, the box drawn in the bottom corner, the hypotenuse will always be the side not touching it, or in other words, the side opposite of it. So that is our hypotenuse. Now, let's say we are looking at this angle here over to the right. Our opposite side is the side that is not touching our angle, or it's the side furthest from our angle. So our side over here to the left will be our opposite, and our adjacent is going to be the last side over here. It is the one touching our angle. Adjacent means next to. So our adjacent side is next to our angle, our opposite is the furthest from our angle, and the hypotenuse is the longest arm of the triangle. Now instead, let's look at this angle over here. If you're looking for or were given that angle, the opposite would become our adjacent, and our adjacent would become our opposite. However, the hypotenuse will always be the same. Now, how do we use Soh Cah Toa? Well, let's look at this triangle for example. Let's say a question gives you this angle here as theta, and you are given your hypotenuse, but you need to look for the adjacent angle, the adjacent side. All right, so we have A, we have H. Well, which one does that match the closest? That is Ka. So we're going to use our cosine of theta is equal to our adjacent divided by our hypotenuse. Remember, the second letter is divided by the third letter. Well, if we're looking for our adjacent, then we need to get it by itself. We'll multiply both sides by h. The h's on the right side cancel out, leaving us with a is equal to h times cosine of theta. In a real question, you might be given the actual values for h and theta. You can plug those in. So multiply your h. You can look up in your unit circle what cosine of theta is, or you might be able to use your calculator and solve for those values, and you'll get your A. All right. As it, have a good rest of your day.